Imagine this. You step out of a cafe, coffee in hand, minding your own business, only to find your car absolutely destroyed. Not just scratched, not just dented, but violated. Your tires slashed, your windshield shattered, and smeared across the side in bold, ugly letters. Hate. Racist slurs dripping down the paint like venom. Now a pause. What would you do? Panic? Call the cops? Lose your mind? Well, Kareem Shelby does none of that. Because what these punks don't know, they just picked the wrong man. Before we delve into this intriguing story, let me know where you are watching from in the comment section. Are you ready? Let's go. The streetlights flickered, casting long shadows as Kareem stepped toward his car. His footsteps were slow, deliberate, the kind of walk that made you second-guess everything. Most people would be furious. Most people would snap. Not Kareem. He just stood there, silent, calculating. His sharp, trained eyes scanned the damage. He wasn't just looking at what was done. He was looking for who did it. And then he felt it. A tingle, a whisper in the air. That unshakable SEAL instinct. He was being watched. Oh, this just got interesting. Kareem didn't need to see them. He could feel them. The nervous energy, the thrill of their little game. They thought they were the hunters. They thought he was the prey. Big mistake. Because Kareem Shelby wasn't the hunted. He was the storm. His fingers brushed against his watch. A small flick activated recon mode. A little something from his past life. A past life that these kids had no business waking up. No panic. No rush. Just calm. Because predators don't flinch. They don't run. They hunt. And right now, Kareem had just picked up the scent. And that's just the beginning. If you were in Kareem's shoes, what would you do? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to see how this plays out, ride on with me. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were being watched? That eerie feeling that creeps up your spine, making the hairs on your neck stand up? Now imagine that feeling, but instead of fear, you feel something else, something darker, something dangerous. That's exactly what Kareem Shelby felt. But unlike most people, he didn't freeze. He didn't panic. No. Kareem did what he does best. He started hunting. The night was silent, too silent. The kind of quiet that wasn't natural. The kind that made your instincts whisper warnings in your ear. Kareem stood still, his eyes scanning the street. He wasn't looking for the obvious. No, these weren't professionals. They were sloppy, careless, reckless, and right now, they thought they were in control. They had no idea they were already his prey. His sharp gaze flicked downward. Footprints, fresh, at least 3 pairs, leading from the alley where his car had been wrecked. Perfect, with the smoothness of a man who had done this before. Kareem tilted his phone slightly, catching the reflection of the street behind him. There, a shadow, just barely shifting in the alleyway. Someone was watching, probably waiting for him to react. They wanted to see him break. They wanted a reaction. What they didn't know, Kareem Shelby wasn't a man you played games with. At this point, most people would have stormed in, right? Started screaming, throwing punches, calling the cops. But Kareem? No. Kareem had something better in mind. And trust me, you're gonna love this. Instead of confronting them, Kareem did the unexpected. He turned and walked away. Not fast, not slow, just casual. Like he hadn't just spotted his enemies lurking in the dark. Like he wasn't even concerned. Oh, but make no mistake. He was baiting them. He knew their type. They were cowards in packs, emboldened by numbers but weak on their own. And right now, they were just dying to prove something. So, Kareem did what any seasoned predator would do. He let them follow him. He crossed the street, heading toward a convenience store, casually stepping inside. He wasn't there to shop. No, this was part of the trap. The bright fluorescent lights flickered overhead as he made his way to the back. And then he saw them. 3 guys. Young, cocky, stupid, huddled near the energy drinks, pretending to browse. But Kareem saw everything. Traces of spray paint on their sleeves. Nervous eyes darting toward the door. Smirks that didn't quite hide their anxiety. Yeah, these were the guys. And just like that, Kareem Shelby smiled. Not the kind of smile that says, "Oh, you got me." No, this was the kind of smile that said, "You have no idea who you just have asterisk Ed with." Now, let me ask you again. If you were Kareem, what would you do next? Walk away? Confront them? Or would you let them dig their own graves? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this next phase is beyond thrilling. Alright, let's get one thing straight. These kids, they thought they were untouchable. They thought they were in control. But what they didn't realize was that Kareem Shelby had already flipped the game on them. And right now, they weren't the hunters anymore. They were the hunted. Kareem stood at the back of the convenience store, cool, calm, unreadable. He didn't need to do much. Just watch. Because right there, just a few feet away, were the 3 idiots who thought it was a good idea to mess with his car. 3 guys. Young, arrogant, clueless. One of them, a tall, wiry kid, kept glancing toward the door. He was nervous, jumpy. He knew something was off. The second one, short, stocky, overcompensating, laughing too loud, talking too much. A front, fake confidence. And then there was the ringleader, the one who wasn't laughing. This one was different. He stood in the middle, arms crossed, chewing gum like he had nothing to worry about, like he was untouchable. Kareem almost smiled. This was going to be fun. Without saying a word, he walked right past them. No eye contact, no reaction, just smooth, unbothered confidence. And the effect? Immediate. The leader? He stiffened. The nervous one? He swallowed hard. And the loud one? Oh! He tried to overcompensate. "Yo, what's up, man?" he blurted out, forcing a smirk. "You look lost." Kareem? He didn't even stop, didn't flinch, didn't respond. He just kept walking. But what they didn't know, that silence, that was the warning. Because now, they were exactly where he wanted them. And just like that, the trap was set. But trust me, things are about to take a turn. Fast. Pay close attention here. Alright, listen up, because this is where things start to get real interesting. 3 guys, full of confidence, full of attitude, thinking they've got the upper hand, thinking Kareem Shelby is just some random guy they can intimidate. But what they don't realize, they've already stepped into his trap, and they're walking straight into the lion's den. Kareem didn't say a word, didn't give them a single glance. He just walked out, calm, casual, like a man who knew exactly what was about to happen. And the second he stepped through that door, they followed. Oh, they thought they were slick, moving slow, keeping a little distance, whispering to each other like they were making a big decision. But in reality, they'd already made the biggest mistake of their lives. Kareem led them across the street, taking a turn down a dimly lit alley. And let's be real, most people, they don't just walk into dark alleys alone at night. But Kareem, he wasn't most people. Now, if you were one of these guys, tell me, when would the red flag start going off? Would it be when the guy you just vandalized doesn't seem scared? Or maybe when he walks you straight into an alley, like he's inviting you to your own funeral? Because right about now, they should have realized something was off. But they didn't. Oh no, they kept walking. They turned the corner, and just like that, they were alone with him. The leader, yeah, the one with the cocky attitude. He slowed down first. His instincts finally kicked in. "Yo, where you going, man?" he called out, trying to sound tough, trying to regain control. Kareem stopped. Finally, He turned his head just slightly, just enough to let them see the smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. "You tell me," he said, low, even, like he wasn't even concerned. And that's when they realized they fed up. Asterisk. At this point, it's not even a question of if Kareem is going to handle business. It's how bad it's about to get for these guys. So, what do you think happens next? The air in the alley was thick with tension. The leader, yeah, the one who had been all talk, took a step closer, his chest puffed out, his smirk still holding on. Barely. The second guy, short, stocky, trying too hard, picked up a bat from the ground. He spun it once, probably thinking it made him look tough. And the third, the nervous one, he pulled a knife. Oh, now that was a mistake. Now, I don't know about you, but when a guy like Kareem Shelby sees a knife in a fight, it doesn't make things scarier. It makes things simpler. Because if there was ever a way to guarantee you just lost, it's pulling a weapon you don't know how to use against a guy who's trained to Yeni fights before they even begin. And just like that, Kareem moved. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't dramatic. It was fast, precise, over before they even knew what happened. 1 second, the knife was in the nervous guy's hand. The next, his wrist was locked, twisted. The blade clattered to the ground. And before he could even react, Kareem hit him with a quick elbow to the ribs. Not hard enough to break anything, just enough to take the fight out of him. 1 down. The guy with the bat? Oh, he froze. He'd been ready to swing, but now he realized this wasn't a game. And in that moment of hesitation, Kareem stepped in. A quick move, a twist of the bat, and suddenly, it was his. A simple sweep, a shift of balance. And the stocky guy? On the ground. 2 down. And then there was 1. Now, let's take a moment here. Because if you were the leader of this little crew, if you just watched your 2 guys go down in seconds, what would you do? Yeah, exactly. The leader took a step back, then another. He swallowed hard, trying to keep that tough guy act alive. And Kareem? He just stood there, watching, waiting, and then he leaned in slightly, just enough to let his voice cut through the night. Run. And guess what? The guy took off. Didn't think. Didn't argue. He just ran. And just like that, it was over. No long speeches. No drawn-out fight. Because real power, it doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. But trust me, this story isn't done yet. Because what happens next? Oh, it's about to change everything. So if you're ready for the next phase of this story, hit that like button, drop a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. You see those guys? They never stood a chance. 2 of them laid out, gasping, groaning, wishing they'd never picked this fight. And the third? Oh, he ran. But here's the thing. Kareem Shelby, he doesn't just let things slide. Because this wasn't about revenge. No, this was about a lesson. The alley was quiet now. The only sound? The shallow, panicked breaths of the 2 punks still on the ground. One clutching his ribs, the other spitting blood. And then Kareem turned, his eyes locked onto the leader, the last one standing, the one who started all of this, and the one who was now frozen in place. His hands shook, his chest rose and fell in short, rapid gasps. His confidence gone, because now he wasn't staring at a regular guy. He was staring at a man built for war, a man who had seen things, done things, and survived things these kids couldn't even imagine. Kareem took 1 step forward. The leader flinched. Oh yeah, he was scared now. And Kareem? He leaned in close, just enough to let the words sink into his skull. You thought I was just some easy target? Silence. You thought this was a game? The kid swallowed hard. His lip trembled. No more attitude. No more tough guy act. And then Kareem whispered the words that would haunt him for the rest of his life. I've broken men twice your size in places you can't even pronounce. And with that, he let go. Just step back. No more threats. No more words. Because sometimes, silence is the loudest warning of all. And guess what? That was all it took. Because in that moment, that kid knew. He knew that if he ever saw Kareem Shelby again, he better be walking the other way. All right, let's break this down. 3 punks thought they were running the show. Thought they could target a man like Kareem Shelby and just walk away. But now, 2 of them are still on the ground, gasping for air. And the leader? He's barely keeping it together. Because in just a few seconds, everything he thought he knew about power flipped upside down. But this story? Oh, it's not over yet. Because just when you think Kareem's done, the universe decides to add one final twist. As Kareem stepped back, letting the leader stumble away in terror, something happened. Red and blue lights. A siren cutting through the silence. A patrol car rolled up, headlights flooding the alley. A moment later, the door opened and out stepped Officer Daniels, a cop Kareem knew well. And judging by the look on Daniels' face, he already knew exactly what just went down. Now, this is where most people would start panicking, right? Cop rolls up, sees a couple of battered guys in an alley, and boom! Questions, cuffs, the whole 9 yards. But Kareem, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't need to, because he knows something these punks don't. Justice? Sometimes it doesn't come in a courtroom. Sometimes it happens right here in the streets. Officer Daniels took one look at the situation. 2 guys groaning on the pavement. 1 kid still trembling, stuck between running and falling to his knees. And Kareem, standing there, calm as ever. Daniels sighed, saw the security footage. The leader snapped his head up. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that's right. The whole thing, it was on camera. From the second these idiots trashed Kareem's car to the moment they followed him into this alley. And that's when reality hit them. Because if there was footage, that meant they were the criminals. And Kareem, he was just a guy defending himself. At this point, you already know what's coming. Officer Daniels, he's not dumb. He's seen this play out before. And he knows exactly who deserves to be in handcuffs tonight. Daniels stepped forward, hands on his belt, looking down at the 2 guys still wheezing on the ground. Either of you want to press charges? Silence. Then, the one with the busted lip shook his head, so fast it was almost comical. The leader? Oh, he was still frozen. Processing. Daniels raised an eyebrow. No, didn't think so. Then, turning to Kareem, he smirked. You okay, Seal? And there it was, the big reveal. Because now, these punks didn't just know Kareem was dangerous. They knew who he was. Oh, man. Can you imagine what's going through their heads right now? They didn't just pick a fight with some random guy. They went after a Navy SEAL, a trained warrior, a ghost in the shadows. And now they have to live with that knowledge. Forever. So let me ask you, do you think Kareem should have pressed charges? Or was this lesson enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to see how this story wraps up, you know what to do. Subscribe, because the final chapter? Oh, it's going to be legendary.